The NBA trade world just got reset. Desmond Bane has been traded for 4 future first-round picks as well as 2 rotation players, and the Memphis Grizzlies come out of this deal looking like geniuses. Grizzlies fans were absolutely up in arms at the trade deadline because the GM Zach Kleiman did nothing to really improve the roster. There were late rumblings about Kevin Durant. Well, now he's put those rumors to bed and tucked them away because he just got 4 first-round picks for Desmond Bane. And no disrespect to Desmond Bane, he's going to be fantastic for Orlando, and we'll talk about that in a second. But the fit between Desmond Bane and Ja Morant was just never there. I think KCP is already a better fit alongside of Ja Morant, not to mention that he just won an NBA championship a couple years ago. And no disrespect to Desmond Bane, because it sounds like I'm downplaying him right now. Make no mistake about it, he is a really, really good wing. He averaged almost 20 points per game this year, 6 rebounds, 5.3 assists, and 1.2 steals in 32 minutes a night for a Grizzlies team that was the number 2 seed in the West for a large majority of the season before a late season collapse. People forget how good the Grizzlies were for the first 3/4 of the year. He's 6'5", but he's got a 6'4" wingspan. One of the most interesting builds in the NBA, and that's part of why I don't think it would work alongside of Ja Morant in the long run. Now, yes, shooting 48% from the field and 39% from 3 on 6 attempts definitely helps, but he's only got a .4 defensive box plus minus, and when, that's decent, but compared to a guy like KCP, who's got a 1.6 defensive box plus minus, you can see where the difference is right there. And yes, he's also in the midst of a 5-year, $200 million extension that the Grizzlies signed him to, so maybe they're feeling a little bit of buyer's remorse there. But Desmond Bane is going to be a really solid guard. He's going to be really solid in Orlando. I just like this duo a little bit more than this duo when it comes to both sides of the floor, especially taking into account that the Grizzlies were 24th in opponents' points per game last year. And make no mistake about it, the Magic are going to be tough next year offensively. But from the Grizzlies' point of view, you are fortunate enough to have a all-world player as your franchise star in Ja Morant. You have to build around him. Remember, he claims to have had the Thunder figured out. If he was healthy, it would have been a 2-2 series. Now, that's debatable, but he averaged 18.3 points per game, 5 assists, 3 boards, and 0.7 steals that series in just 27 minutes a game. He shot 42% from the field and 25% from 3, so I feel like the defense kind of got to him, that great Thunder defense. But remember, in Game 3, they were up by 27 points when he got hurt. He had 15 points, 5 assists, and a rebound in just 15 minutes and was plus 16 in the plus-minus category. On the season, he averaged 23.2 points per game, 7.3 assists, and 4 rebounds to go with 1.2 steals in 30 minutes a night while shooting 45% from the field. He's your guy. He's the guy you have to build around, and in the future making these moves to make the fit better for him, make it an easier transition for him. And looking at the lineup next year, it just looks like it fits better with no Desmond Bane in there and Kentavious Caldwell-Pope as a 3-and-D guy. Maybe I'm crazy, but I think that complements Ja a lot better than it did before. Now, taking a look at the assets they have to make improvements to this team, money-wise, they are fine. They got a ton of cap room. They're $21 million under the salary cap, which is very rare in the modern NBA. They got $62 million to work with before they hit the first apron and $76 million to work with before the second apron. Their 2 free agents are Luke Kennard and Santi Aldama, or the only 2 free agents that played on last year's roster. Luke Kennard, if you don't bring him back, it's not the end of the world. He'd be cool to have back at a good price point. 43% from 3 on 4 attempts, that speaks for itself, but the defense is a little bit lacking. And then Santi Aldama was a starter for you for a bit, and then started a few games in the playoffs, played well in the playoffs, ended up with 12.5 points a game, 6.5 rebounds, 3 assists, and 0.8 blocks in 25 minutes. So, he was pretty solid with the limited minutes, 48% shooting from the field, 37% from 3, and he's a guy that will be 25, he's a restricted free agent, so unless somebody throws a bag at him, you could probably get him back at a pretty good price point. Now, taking a look at these picks that they just acquired in this trade, because that's the big part of this trade. Player-wise, obviously, the Magic won this trade, but when it comes to the picks, they give up 4 first-round picks and a swap. You get the 16th overall pick in this year's draft, Phoenix's first-round pick unprotected next year is huge, and then Orlando's picks in 2028 and 2030. And this is a great year to have a fringe lottery pick. You can get Cedric Coward, who might fall, probably will fall actually due to the injury concerns and stuff like that, but he's a guy that would easily be a lottery pick in most years. This is just a really deep class, and obviously he had a lot of injuries. Rasheer Fleming will probably end up dropping a little bit out of the lottery, and for a team that is in win now mode like the Grizzlies, this is the perfect fit. He is a 6'9" dude with a 7'5" wingspan. Yes, you heard me correctly, a +8 wingspan, and he shot 39% from 3 on top of being a very good athlete. He also took 5 attempts per game, so it's not a small volume or anything. Nick Clifford is another guy that could slip out of the lottery and fall into the hands of a team that is win now, and he would be able to come in, contribute immediately, and be a dog. Right, Nick Clifford does a little bit of everything. He's like the Jason Tatum of the Mountain West Conference is what I like to call him. 6'8", with a pretty good 3-point shot, 6'7", 6'8", something like that. Shoots at about 40% from 3 and can defend. Thomas Sorber would even be a good option, although you're pretty set at center with Edey, Jaren Jackson Jr. Maybe you look into Sorber if you don't bring back Aldama, but Thomas Sorber is a guy that I really think looks a lot like Bam Adebayo with a really good wingspan, and then can defend extremely well, 2.3 blocks per game. And then Noah Essenyo is the overseas late riser in this year's class. He's 6'10" with fantastic athletic abilities, and he can also shoot the 3 ball a little bit, and he is pretty solid defensively. So that's another guy you could look into going out and getting. But a big question you now have after trading Desmond Bane, are you trying to retool, or is this just too good of an offer to pass up? Jaren Jackson Jr. would now be the next guy on the chopping block if you do look to trade, and he had a really good season this year, averaging 22.2 points per game, 5.6 rebounds, 2.7 stocks per game. He is a big that can shoot and can create for himself, on top of being a fantastic defender, 49% shooting from the field, 38% from 3. So, you have to make that decision. Are you going to trade him? And if you do trade him, you're going to get a ton of picks back. He's 6'11" with a 7'5" wingspan, still a very young player, and has one of the best skill sets in the NBA. In the modern NBA, having a 6'11" guy that can really protect the rim and also knock down the 3 ball is invaluable. I think they keep him, but you got to make a decision there. And then you can probably look to move Cole Anthony because he will be 25 years old. He's coming off a year where he averaged 9 points a game, 3 boards, 3 assists in 65 games played at about 18 minutes per game. Shot 42% from the field and 35% from 3. But down the stretch, he was out of the rotation, and the playoffs wasn't much of a factor aside from a couple of games. He's on a $13 million 1+1 deal, so they got a team option at the end of this year. So essentially, it could be an expiring contract because nobody's going to want to pay him $13 million. So you could look to move him, maybe attach a second-round pick to that and get him off the books and free up $13 million because you already have a backup point guard. Scotty Barnes Jr. just proved last year that he can be very effective. He will be 25 years old next year, coming off a season averaging 10 points, 4.5 assists, 3.3 rebounds, and 1.5 steals in 21 minutes per game. Shot 48% from the field and 40% from 3 on 2.8 attempts. One of the more underrated players in the league, I'd say. Averaged 17 points a game in that playoff series versus the Thunder in the 4 games. So having him coming off the bench behind Ja Morant and having all these young guys on small contracts like Jalen Wells, who starts for you, like Scotty Barnes, who is a great 6th man, like even G.G. Jackson or Vince Williams, if they can get some more PT, it's fantastic because you can go make other moves with your money and make moves like this, where you bring in a ton of picks, replenish your war chest, and if the Pacers and Thunder have taught us anything, it's that depth beats star power in the modern NBA, and that's exactly what the Grizzlies are setting themselves up to do with all these picks. I think it's a fantastic trade for them. Also a good trade for the Magic. With that being said, that's going to be it for today's video. Thanks so much for watching. Make sure to hit the like button, leave me a comment down below, and hit that subscribe button if you did enjoy at any point. And with all that being said, thanks so much for watching today's video.